Welcome to Womack's wonderful world. Have I got some stories to tell you today? In a place of mystery and intrigue, because it's where the angry giant lives, with his friends, of course. Would you like to hear more? Well, let us begin. Now, under a tree, and under the soil, way under the rocks beneath, lives an angry giant with a big appetite with 3 very sharp teeth. A giant displeased having little to eat, who's been angry for 1,000 years. And if any child dared stray into his lair, they wouldn't be spared. He might eat them and swill down with ginger beer. He said children would be tasty, baked in thick pastry, smothered in clotted cream, diced and sliced in a trice all spiced, an angry giant's dream. When angry giant's hungry for food nice and crunchy, he burps and rumbles the earth. And that's when we know angry giant below is ready to widen his girth. Now Paul was in awe of angry giant below and wanted to know much more. Was the legend true or just a story that grew? So Paul set off to explore. He packed a sharp axe and some tasty snacks and followed the bumblebee. And fearfully crept where legend accepts a giant lives angrily. It was impossibly deep and too wide to leap, blacker than night and as cold as frostbite, slimy and grimy, all tingly and spiny, a place no human has known. To stomp and rampage his 1,000-year age, an angry giant's home. Paul crawled deep inside with a spider to guide and a torch to light his way. Then he tripped on a shoe as big as a canoe, which gave him a clue angry giant wasn't far away. I smell a treat, something tasty to eat, with digestible crunchy bones. To nibble and dribble, bones blissfully brittle, come in, my little gnome. Paul clutched his sharp axe and packet of snacks and shouted out very loud, "Hey, Jack Paul, come to let giant know eating children is not allowed. There are lots of nice things besides human beings to eat when you want a meal, like apples and dates and banana cornflakes. My snacks would be ideal." Paul cut up his snacks with his very sharp axe and gave angry giant a piece. He sniffed and he picked and he licked some bits, and he crunched and he munched on Paul's scrumptious lunch, and he hummed and he hawed and eventually declared that he liked Paul's tasty face. Then the giant went quiet and told of his diet he'd eaten since he was born. He'd always been fed on whatever he wanted. Now angry giant was torn. Sharing Paul's food had altered his mood, and for the first time ever, he smiled. Then he shook Paul's paw and with a deafening guffaw said he'd never think of eating another child. And as good as his word, a giant's rumble is heard throughout Poland once a year. The rumble in the jungle is just a giant without a grumble, eating snacks and apple crumble, and children have nothing to fear. Wow! What a story! The angry giant, and wasn't Paul brave boy? Of course he was. I wouldn't do it, of course, because I'm not that brave. Would you do it, children? Oh, Mr. Giant, would you take that book for me, please? Thank you very much. Friendly giant now, you see. Well, I'll have to take my hat, and I'll have to take my stick, with my little friend on it. That's another story. It's about a mouse. But that's for later. So, for now, goodbye! Womack's wonderful world.